Man, recording these and explaining these are kind of hard. Okay, so I've got a new project. This is about take 5 or 6, by the way. If I go into their sphere of influence, I change color. And if I come out, it stops. And this is working around the hue values, so from 0 to 360, and it's finding the shortest path to that. So do you go around clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on what is closer. So you can see sometimes up in the top left it's saying increase or decrease, depending on what way of that color wheel we should be going. Okay, so what is going on under the hood? Good question. So I have a bunch of character movement stuff. There's keyboard, there's mouse, and then event begin play. We're just getting the material and setting our current material and grabbing its hue. And then this is where a lot of the magic happens. So first we collide with something. Does it have an influence tag, INF? If so, then cool, let's go on. So if it's this influence source, we're going to cast to that, get its material, like its set color in the blueprint there, and then grab its hue from that color, and then go on with changing to new color. So the first check we do, if we want to change our color, is our color the same as the other one? If not, then we don't have to run anything else. So if our current is within a value of like 1 or whatever the increment amount is, I could jump to change it to 10 every time. But the increment amount is something small, like 1 or something. So if it's plus or minus 1, then we don't need to change anything. It says, yep, color match, and then that's the end. But if not, then we need to change our color. So what's the first check? So we need to know which is the shorter path to our target color. So on a 360 wheel, or working on a range from 0 to 360, which direction is closer? If we plus 180 from our current, are we going to hit our target value? So that's the first check. So plus 180, go around, I guess, clockwise, 180 degrees. And if we don't hit that, then we go on with another check. So if we do, then cool, we can go on with increasing. But if not, if we still don't hit that, then we need to make another check. So this other check, all we're going to do is take the target and add, so the hue cycle range is just 360. I'm just plugging that in everywhere so I'd never get it wrong. So 360, if we add 360 to the target, let's say our current hue was at like 350, but our target was at like 5. So clearly, if I was looking at it like a wheel, then going from 350 to 5 is like a 15-degree turn, right? But how do you tell it that this is a wheel? So if I add 360 to 5, that makes it 365. Comparing that with my current hue value, which would be 350. So then we go, okay, that's only a 15 value gap. So it's running the 180 check again, except with 360 applied. And then we go, okay, if that hits, then good. And if it doesn't, then obviously we need to subtract. We're going the other way. So now we have a full check on both sides, going around the circle 180 degrees and the other side. So then we can find that shorter path. Now that was probably one of the hardest things to figure out, because I just didn't know, like, you're working with this loop, you're working within, like, I'm using a modulo between 0 to 360. If I want to keep increasing, it's just using a modulo, which is basically the remainder of, if I reach 360 and you divide the number by 360, what is the remainder? So if I keep going up, if it's 365, then the remainder is 5. So the new value becomes 5. So anyway, having to work with that was especially tricky, and also didn't really know how to do it in a negative way, because you can't divide in the negatives. So what do you do there? But anyway, I'll show. So first we have this calculate difference thing, which this is only for debugging reasons. I just wanted to see if the value, if I could, like I wanted to make sure this was working correctly. So I just did this, and this is just the same thing here in here, although I just had to flip these because we're subtracting, so the difference had to be different. Lol. So you can mostly ignore that. So we go from, okay, let's do these checks, and let's move the value, our current value. So we're going to increase hue or decrease hue, and they're basically the same, except one's going the other way. So let's go into increase hue, which is over here. So first off, has the current hue been reached? Has it reached the target? Oh wait, I guess I should go back. So this is inside a set timer by function name, which every whatever amount of time you put in, it will run this function again and again and again. And I use this in the other one. This is, I don't know, I find a lot of use with this node. But anyway, so it's running it every time, and then it can stop depending on if you have a handle value. So they made a new handle value, a variable, which basically says like, oh, if the handle is like yes or no, I think maybe it just tells it to stop. I don't know if it's like it's not necessarily a Boolean. I think it's slightly different. Oh, got some screaming in the background. Someone being tortured. But anyway, so this will tell it when it's done. To like whether or not this will keep playing. It didn't really make sense to me because this doesn't seem as clear as the simplicity of it. But anyway, this is how it works. There's a handle value, and if the handle says stop, then it just stops. So let's go in. So increase hue. So has the current hue reached the target? What's inside here? So we're running the same code at the beginning. I should probably just stick this in its own function. But if it's within, a range of like 1 of the target, then we don't need to change the current. So if that's true, then we don't need to make any changes. That we don't need to run this function. So once it hits that, it's going to keep going, and then once it runs this again, and it's within this range, then it says stop. So clear and invalidate timer by handle. So stop incrementing that. We don't need to run this anymore. Then done. Let's go up 1 level. So increase hue. So if it's not reached it, then we want to keep going. So add the incremental value. So we're just taking the current and adding the increment, and then we're going to plus that and whatever that is. So if it reaches like over 360, we want to bring it back to 1. So this is where we're using the modulus. If you type in modulus, you get these, but if you type in modulo like it says here, it doesn't show up, so that's dumb. But anyway, so the hue cycle range is just 360, and I've put that everywhere else. I just didn't want to make any typos or anything. So then we set the new value. So we +1, and that's the new value of the current hue. Cool. So then we want to set this new color. So we go in here. We took the hue current, which we just set, and we want to plug that into the hue of our current material color. And then we want to update our color to our material. There it is, using this parameter name. So the material has this name as the parameter for the main color, the base color, and I just named it main color, and that's what we're setting. Voila! And then, let's see, increment change. So we run that until that first check and goes, oh, we need to stop because we reached the target. Cool, and then the only difference here is that in the decrease, this one threw me for a loop for a little while, was how do you make a modulo like going in reverse? And I mean, it's really simple now that I'm looking back, but man, I could not figure this out for a long time. So we just do the same thing. So we take the current and we want to take away the increment amount, but then we want to plus 360 to it, so it never goes into the negatives. And then we run the modulo on that, or the modulo, I don't know. So yeah, so it's just keeping it above 360, and then it'll take the remainder. So it's always going down, but it never goes below 0. you never want to divide with, you know, negatives. That's rough stuff. So, yeah, that's easy enough. So, yeah, that was a pain to figure out, but it's such a simple thing. But I'm definitely learning to appreciate a lot of the programming now that I'm trying to figure this out myself. It's cool to figure this out. Oh yeah, I do have another function though that in the event graph. So we're doing on component end overlap. And we're doing the same thing here, just defining this and we're defining what the other object is, and then we're using this clear and invalidate timer by handle. So just stop if there's a timer that's going on, changing it one increment at a time. I didn't want to do a lerp because I wanted it to be, you know, just ideally this would be a lot slower of an influence, but for testing I'm speeding up. So we just want to stop that timer whenever we come away from that influence sphere. So that's all that's going on. Anyway, but yes, that is the end of this. So it's been really cool to figure this out. I don't really know, like, I would like this project to go a certain direction, but I'm also just kind of exploring stuff and seeing what's fun and all that. You know, does it feel good to control? Is it engaging? Trying to make all these game design decisions and stuff. It's interesting to do this while programming, and then I'll probably plug some of my art and music and stuff in it, and it'll feel good to make something that I've programmed. So, trying to find the fun in it. That'll be cool. Thanks for watching. Yeah, like I say, these are mostly for me. I've gone back to my other videos a couple times when I've needed to get a recap on how I did something. So if you appreciated it, then that is great. And if not, then I don't care. Yay! Because ultimately, I don't know, being a bit selfish with this, but if other people can benefit from it, then hey, it's there for them too. Thanks for watching if you did, and see you in another video of probably Blender or something. But yeah, bye.